Well, it's time for a brief rundown on some of our international and national news for this Friday morning. It is March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. A Senate panel has rejected Trump's wiretap claim, yet even more senators joining the chorus of saying there's no evidence for this. Another federal judge, now that's 2 in 2 days, has ruled against Trump's latest travel ban. This was just hours after the president roared in fury, "We're going to take this to the Supreme Court and win." He had said that at a rally in Tennessee. Well, apparently, the next step would be to go to the Supreme Court at this point, because now we've got all these federal judges saying, yeah, you can't do that. He says it's not a Muslim ban. The opponents are like, yeah, it kind of is. These are Muslim countries that you are banning people to come in from. There was another school shooting, this one in France. The heroic headmaster among those injured after what they're calling weapons-obsessed student with grenades and guns opened fire. He, besides the headmaster, wounded 3 students before being taken into custody, and that'll be the subject of my commentary today. There was a Parcel explosion at the International Monetary Fund's Paris office that wounded the employee. She opened the mail and got hit with a minor explosion. They called it nothing more really than a firecracker, not really a bomb, but it did cause an evacuation and quite a bit of consternation in Paris. Trump, of course, looking at the cost of Air Force One and Marine One, over the last 2 decades, the U.S. will have spent some $11 billion on this presidential fleet, despite the Donald's promise to cut the spending. At this point, it's going to be a lot harder for him to cut it than he thought it would. The president of Ukraine, Poroshenko, has slapped sanctions on 5 Russian banks that have been operating in Ukraine. These sanctions include not being able to take the money out of the country. Also, according to the latest claims in the media, the Wall Street Journal actually reporting on this, Michael Flynn, the guy who had to resign as Trump's advisor, apparently received more than $50,000 from 3 Russian companies just in the year or so prior to becoming an advisor for President Trump. So maybe this connection with the Russians has some teeth. There was a video of a woman emerging from a mudslide in Peru. The 34-year-old apparently escaping just barely with her life. A lot of mudslides in Peru with heavy rain. The Dutch Prime Minister Rutte has won re-election over the anti-Islam Wilders. This was something a lot of folks had their eyes on in light of the surprise Brexit vote and the election of Donald Trump. They're like, how far is this populism thing going to go? Oh, good. Rutte won. They're saying, oh, yeah, that's very good for the EU and for the establishment. All right. Rex Tillerson has unveiled a new U.S. approach to North Korea after 20 years of failed diplomacy. Not exactly sure what that new approach is. It looks like they're going to be putting pressure on China to put pressure on North Korea. They still are calling for its denuclearization. In other words, because the rest of us have decided that you can't have the same weapons that we have, we're going to continue to force you to not have the same weapons that the rest of us have. There's been a breakthrough in military technical cooperation between Russia and Turkey. Not sure how far it goes, but they are going to be unveiling some of it in an upcoming conference and trade show this next year. Also, a look at the America First budget, with President Trump promising a new chapter of American greatness, using the axe across a whole bunch of other government programs, including public broadcasting and the HHS and the State Department, in order to pay for a wall between the United States and Mexico, and also to build up the military. Mount Etna blew up with the BBC television crew on it, and they got caught up in the blast. A number of them, I think 9, injured, mostly with burns to their scalp. They were being pelted basically with hot lava and steam. And lastly, there's an article in Pravda looking at the Daily Caller and Coulter saying that liberals are dreaming of a nuclear attack on Russia. And she said that they basically didn't care at all about the crimes of Stalin or of Khrushchev, but, they're pointing their finger at Putin and basically getting ready to nuke him. Of course, we'll keep our eye on that for you. Once again, my commentary today has to do with this latest school shooting and what I think is really behind it. Check it out and become a supporter either through Patreon or by going to the website radiofreespeech.com and clicking on the subscribe button. Thanks.